Going into mental health, why is it that mental health is still a stigma in hip hop when there are rappers like yourself that have talked about it in their music?
Because who's gonna ever admit that they're unfit mentally, especially in hip hop? I'm grateful today that there are as many rappers that talk about it as there are. It's a lot more today than there used to be. So if that trend can continue, then great. But whoever wants to talk about the exact nature of what's going on with them in hip hop, we conceal everything. In hip hop, it was never good to be so vulnerable. That was seen as being weak. It was about who's the toughest. Niggas are killing themselves trying to stay alive with all of these fucking pills and Molly and lean and whatever the shit they're mixing. And we've seen enough death that you would think something would click, but apparently not. So we need people like me to advocate for it. We need people like Charles Hamilton to advocate for it. Logic, Anderson .Paak,
Styles P.
Styles P. So today there are plenty of people that are talking about it. Wouldn't hurt to have some more though.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like obviously you identified with it throughout your years, and just growing. Most importantly, like I text you, I was proud of you because during the Shady cipher on the George Washington Bridge, that was a very, very dark time that a lot of the public never knew about. There was so many different rumors. There were so many bad things that were happening. I always said to you, like, damn, I wish they really knew what was going on with you because it was a lot.
That's
And
true.
then when you came out and spoke about it on Everyday Struggle, I texted you. I said I was really proud. Like I was happy about that. What made you get to that place of acceptance? How did you get there to understand that I don't need to be ashamed. I don't need to feel embarrassed. Like this is something that we need to talk about.
That's a good question. As open as I've been when it comes to mental health, it wasn't until air quotes retirement that I was really able to dive into maybe some of the things that the fans have seen, i.e., that freestyle on the bridge, and give some backstory to it. That would have never happened if I were still an active rapper, because as an active rapper, I have to protect the everything that comes with being signed to Shady, all of the politics, all of the behind the scenes, what it takes to get the job done. As a rapper, shit changes so fast, the climate of things, that you always have to focus on just getting the job done, and taking care of yourself takes a backseat.
Yeah.
Was that one of the main reasons or main issues that you have with labels? Is that when you're going through some hard times, you have to put your health essentially on the back burner for the sake of making money?
One of the things, labels just don't really give a fuck about the best interest of the artist. And I mean, that was a problem I had for a real long time until you just understand it. And then you can't be mad at it, because once you understand it, you'll see that there's some artists that are willingly relinquishing their rights uh, to be signed. There are some artists that don't give a fuck about putting their health on the line, or risking their sanity to get a deal or to get a hit. Or this business is corroded and it'll take hold of you if you let it. So I hate labels for many reasons, that just being one of them.
Now, musically, for you and a lot of other artists, I think, they try to express these emotions, feelings, things of that nature. Do you ever look at it like it is a cry for help, but because it's put into a musical context, it's overlooked and looked at as enjoyment?
100%. Music most times is used, people use as an escape.
Hmm.
Uh, so you're listening to music for that purpose, really. Uh, so you're not really listening to really get into what is being said, uh, what is affecting the artist, what the artist is feeling or trying to convey at the time. What the artist is trying to convey and what we pull from music a lot of times will be two different things. So you got to understand that too.
Was it ever hard for you to see, like, when you had a friend that either was dealing with an addiction as a result of suppressing emotion, and did it ever, like, how did you feel about that? How did you deal with that when you see this person, literally their life is deteriorating because they're either on alcohol or popping pills on the time, and you want to say something, but you may not feel like it's your position to?
No, I'm desensitized to it. I've seen it so much. Number one, and number two, I know you can't help anybody that don't want help. So I don't beat myself up over it. I don't guilt trip myself. If people want help, I'm always accessible. I'm always here to talk. Shit, I play that role for many of the people in my life. Like, I'm readily available if anybody wants to have a conversation of some, like, real shit. But if you don't want help, I ain't forcing it on you. Not at all. Have a blast. You'll get it one way or the other. God gonna give you the information. What you do with it, something totally different. So no, I'm not forcing help on people.
Yeah. One of the staples in your life, getting out of that dark place, was the late Reverend of the church in
Good old Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
Rest in peace, Pastor Ron. Yes.
How do you move forward now? Because I feel like depression, any of those things, they're constantly, it's almost like an addiction. Like, one little thing could trigger you or bring you back to a bad place. How do you now move forward, not having that resource that you always had?
No, I still have that resource, just not in the physical form. I 100% think that Pastor Ron is up there sitting next to God, instructing him on the best way to take care of Joe.
Okay.
That's just how I see things. So I don't look at it like that. Thank God today, the depressing days, those are less and less. I probably have, if we want to have a serious conversation, I maybe have 3 bad days a year.
Now?
Mm-hmm. I may have 3 days where I wake up and it's just all bad when it's all good. Where it's just for no reason at all. I'm just in a mood. Niggas got to get away from me. I'm not feeling the greatest. I got to go talk myself off that ledge, go reach out to my network, whoever that be, my mom, dad, sponsor, whoever you got going on. But yeah, 3 days a year, down from shit. Let me think. When I wrote Black Cloud, it was probably down to, 30-something a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you continue to work towards something like I have done since I was fucking 8 years old, I would hope that the dark days would become lesser and lesser.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go a little bit into those darkest hours. You say that they're a lot less now, but back then, within your music, you even talked about the darkest hours, about committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So, how were those days back then? Like, how many days throughout the year were you feeling like that?
Well, let's see. Suicide. This is suicide. We are talking, we are talking anywhere from 95 to 04. And when you say suicide, let me try to be a bit more concise than that. When you say suicidal, that's a bit extreme. Because what does that mean? What does that mean to somebody who does not suffer from mental health issues, right? I guess that's probably a conversation that needs to be had, because so many times the people that suffer, when something happens, the regular people are like, well, what the fuck? Where were the signs? Everything was fine. Why would you do something like that? Mm-hmm. So for me, there have been less than 5 times where I've actually attempted suicide. Though that wasn't in 03, 04, and then that Pump It Up was out then. But that didn't mean that the days were dark, and that didn't mean that the suicidal thoughts weren't there. Mm-hmm. So those probably left. When I say 04, that's when I didn't really have those thoughts anymore.